Good evening, everyone, and welcome to late night class. So I'm going to give everyone 2 whole minutes to get their supplies, and then we're going to begin with this lesson about Albert Einstein. So get excited for a lesson about Albert Einstein. "45 seconds, everyone." Okay, time to begin. Nice stream health, no yellow resolution, healthy stream, perfect. Okay. So as you know, something we always do is we always write our name on our worksheet. So we'll write our name. I guess we're doing this in Galaxy. Fitting, because it's for Albert Einstein. Okay. You would probably recognize Albert Einstein from his photos. Yep, he was the guy with crazy hair. But he also had some great ideas. He was more than just a scientist. He was a genius who changed our lives. He made some of science's biggest discoveries. He also developed some of the most important theories. Some of these theories may seem complicated, but they concern every single person. Science is everywhere and affects us every day. Einstein's discoveries made things like television, DVD players, and garage door openers possible. So as you know, whenever we read a story, we have to always do our annotations. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes. 5 minutes to annotate this entire chunk of text. So you have 5 minutes from when the clock strikes 8 minutes. So I'll give everyone 5 minutes, and starting now. Really 4 minutes and 30 seconds. You have 4 minutes left, everyone. 4 minutes left. Three minutes, 30 seconds, everyone. Three minutes, everyone. 2 minutes and 30 seconds, everyone. Two minutes, everyone. A minute 30, everyone. Minute, everyone. $40 seconds, everyone. $10 seconds, everyone. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin. Okay. So moving on to our first paragraph, where we annotate, we always have to reread. You would probably recognize Albert Einstein from his photos. Yep, he was the guy with the crazy hair, but he also had some great ideas. He was more than just a scientist. He was a genius who changed our lives. He made some of science's biggest discoveries. He also developed some important theories. Some of these theories may seem complicated, but they concern everybody. Science is everywhere and affects us every day. Einstein's discoveries made things like television, DVD players, and garage door openers possible. Okay. So as you know, we always underline the name of our characters. Albert Einstein is a character, so he gets underlined. This is a minor detail. The sentence, yep, he was the guy with crazy hair. That's not really relevant to how he was a great mind, which is the entire point of our essay. Show how he was a great mind. That does not really show that he's a great mind, so we're going to not underline that. But he also had some great ideas. We are going to underline this because it shows that he had a great mind. He was more than just a scientist. We have to get the follow-up. He was a genius who changed our lives. We're going to underline the part that says genius who changed our lives. Because it ties back again to our line about him being a great mind. He also made some of science's biggest discoveries. That also gets underlined. He also developed some important theories. That also gets underlined. Some of these theories make it seem complicated, but they concern everyone. These two sentences don't particularly show how he was a great mind, but it just shows details about his theories, not about himself as a person. Science is everywhere and affects us every day. That doesn't really have to do with the point of our essay. Einstein's discoveries made things like television, DVD players, and garage openers possible. This shows some of the things that he was able to make possible, and I would argue that it makes him show that he's a good mind and shows us how much his reach extends to us. And this is a concrete detail and example as opposed to the other sentences in the block here. So I'd say this ties him back as well. So moving on to our next paragraph. Einstein was born in Germany in 1879. When he was 5 years old, his dad gave him a compass. It became his favorite toy. He would stare at the needle of a compass as it moved. So he learned about magnetism. Magnetism is about the invisible force of magnets. it can make objects stick together or move away. Einstein's also learned a lot about science and electronics because of his dad. His dad owned an electronics company. It was no surprise that Einstein ended up loving math and science. He started performing experiments at a very young age. So I'm going to give everyone 5 minutes to annotate this because it's also a block or a larger block of text. So when the clock strikes 16 minutes, then we're going to annotate the next paragraph. And that little quote up there, we're going to read and analyze. 5 minutes, everyone. Four minutes, 30 seconds, everyone. Four minutes, everyone. Three minutes, 30 seconds, everyone. Three minutes, everyone. Two minutes, 30 seconds, everyone. Two minutes, everyone. Minute, 30 seconds, everyone. One minute, everyone. Forty seconds, everyone. 20 seconds, everyone. Okay. Before we actually go into annotating this passage, first I want to take a look at this quote here. Actually, no, first I want to take the passage. Einstein was born in Germany in 1879. When he was 5 years old, his dad gave him a compass. It became his favorite toy. He would stare at the needle of the compass as it moved. It seemed like magic at first. Einstein wanted to understand how the needle moved. So he learned about it seemed like magic at first. Einstein wanted to understand how the needle moved. So he learned about magnetism. Magnetism is the invisible force of magnets. It can make, or force of magnets. It can make objects stick together or move away. Einstein learned a lot about science and electronics because of his dad. He owned an electronics company. It was no surprise that Einstein ended up loving math and science. He started performing experiments at a very young age. Okay, so this is significantly less to annotate. Einstein was born in Germany in 1879. That doesn't have to deal with him being a great mind. When he was 5 years old, his dad gave him a compass. Still nothing to do with him being a great mind. Became his favorite toy. Nope. No, I need to underline that. He would stare at the needle of the compass as it moved. No need to underline that. It seemed like magic at first. No need to underline that either. But we do need to underline Einstein wanted to understand how the needle moved, so he learned about magnetism. This needs to be underlined because it showed he had the intellectual curiosity to seek out things and ask questions about things that bothered him. So that does, in fact, point back. Magnetism is the invisible force of magnets. We don't need to underline that. It can make objects stick together or move away. We don't need to underline that because it doesn't have to do with Albert Einstein being a great mind. Einstein also learned a lot about science and electronics because of his dad. He talks about his mind and learning, so we can say this ties back to him being a great mind. His dad owned an electronics company. This doesn't have to do with This does not have to do with him being a great mind, so we don't have to underline it. It was no surprise that Einstein ended up loving math and science. We don't need to underline the whole part of the sentence, just ended up loving math and science. And fueled his desire to be a great mind. He started performing experiments at a very young age. This indicates that he was a great mind as he can handle such experiments at a young age. Now onto this quote here. I am enough of an artist to draw freely upon my imagination. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. So I'm going to give everyone 3 minutes to think of a take on this quote. So I'll give everyone 3 minutes to type something in the chat about the quote, and I'd really love some user engagement in these classes, because these classes are actually just meant for you to learn. So if you guys want to type something in chat about the quote that I just read out, or the quote that you can still read for yourselves, I'd love to give you 3 minutes to type something out. In 3 minutes, everyone. When the clock strikes 19, we'll go to 3 minutes. So now you have 3 minutes. Two minutes, everyone. Nothing in chat as of now, unfortunately. 1 minute, everyone. Okay, so we're gonna dive right into this quote right here. Unfortunately, where there's nothing in chat, I wish there would have been a little bit of take on the quote in chat, but that's okay. I can show you my take on this. So first, let's really dissect the quote. I am enough of an artist to draw freely upon my imagination. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. Okay, so let's look at this first part. I am enough of an artist to draw freely upon my imagination. He thinks that he's referring to imagination as art. So imagination equals art. I'll come out a little bit. I'm right up here. Actually, we're right up here. Quote. Imagination and what is art? Well, my avenue was art is an expression of yourself. Art doesn't necessarily have to be anything linear or a linear form of art, like a medium such as a painting or a sculpture, or even something of music you might listen to. That's all different type. That's all a different type of art. And the art that I believe he's referring to here is you're an expression of yourself. What art is. So he's an unfettered artist to draw freely upon his imagination. To draw doesn't necessarily mean have to paint. It means to take out. So he's taking his he's enough of an artist to take or to take freely upon from his self-expression. Imagination is more important than knowledge. I think this is pretty straightforward. What he's saying is that this expression of yourself is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. Knowledge can only get you what he's saying here is knowledge can only get you so far in certain places. What you really need is to be yourself and express yourself throughout the world. Because as he said here, your imagination encircles the world. So what I think that he's getting at here is that he's trying to say that book knowledge is only going to get you so far, but what you need is you need to draw upon your expression of yourself to spread throughout the world and spread throughout what you're thinking in your mind. So moving on to our next paragraph. Einstein performed extremely well in school. He quickly advanced to higher-level math and science topics, and his teachers were impressed by his grasp of college-level physics concepts by the time he was 11. When he was young, he met a Polish medical student named Max Talmud. Talmud became his tutor. He showed Einstein a children's textbook about science. Einstein became curious about light and other things. I'll give everyone 4 minutes to make these annotations. This is a little bit of a shorter block. So when the clock strikes 29 minutes, then we'll get right into this paragraph of annotations. 4 minutes, everyone. 4 minutes. 3 minutes, everyone. Two minutes, everyone. One minute, everyone. Thirty seconds, everyone. Or 15 seconds, everyone. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, let's get right into this. Einstein performed extremely well in school. He quickly advanced to higher-level math and science topics, and his teachers were impressed by his grasp of college-level physics concepts by the time he was 11. When he was young, he met a Polish medical student named Max Talmud. Talmud became his tutor. He showed Einstein a children's book, or children's textbook about science. Einstein became curious about light and other things. Okay. Great minds, Albert Einstein. We're going to definitely underline that first sentence. Performed very well in school. That points him being to be a great mind. He quickly advanced to higher-level math and science topics, and his teachers were impressed by his college-level physics concepts when he was 11. That all gets underlined because it all directly points back to the great mind point. So that gets underlined. When he was very young, he met a Polish medical student named Max Talmud. This does not get underlined because it does not have to do with him being a great mind. Talmud became his tutor. Still does not have to do with being a great mind. He showed Einstein a children's textbook about science. Einstein became curious about light and other things. Curiosity points to him being a great mind. So we're going to bring that back up. A little bit of we're going to erase this arrow for now, but know that it points back to it. But know that that sentence points back to him being a great mind. As for reading our next paragraph, Einstein later attended school in Switzerland. He made many friendships. He also met his future wife, Miliva Merrick. She was a Serbian physics student. Einstein received his... Sorry, there's a little bit of a technical difficulty. Let me move my mouse so I can advance to the next page. No, I'm not going to move that over there just yet. Sorry for the technical delay. We're back. He also earned his doctorate in 1905. That same year, he published many important scientific papers. This is a very small block of text, so I'm only going to give 2 minutes for annotations on this one. Then we're going to get right into it. So 2 minutes, everyone, or when the clock strikes 33 minutes and 20 seconds. If you need to see both passages of text, I'll move that there. Roll this back. These arrows here. So you can see both texts. We're not going to erase our underlines. This should be more clear. One minute, everyone. Okay, so let's dive right into it. Einstein later attended school in Switzerland. He made many friendships. He also met his future wife, Mileva Merrick. She was a Serbian physics student. Einstein received his doctorate in 1905. That same year, he published many important scientific papers. He later attended school in Switzerland. That would point him to being a great mind, because he's traveling abroad at that point to go to school. He made many friendships. He also met his future wife, Merrick. Well, these are very nice things. They don't point to him being a great mind. She was a Serbian physics student. That doesn't point to him being a great mind, though. Einstein received his doctorate in 1905. Points him to being a good mind. His doctorate is hard to obtain, so we'll put that over as an arrow over there. That same year, he published many important scientific papers. That's also very important, which ties back to him being a great mind, because publishing scientific papers also takes a lengthy process, and it's very hard to do. Now I can just focus on this here. Move that away. Oh, a little bit of an issue. Move that away. Sorry, for some reason this refuses to move. What we can do is we can read over this over here. On to our next passage. Einstein, after that, Einstein became a professor in Germany. But times were tough back then. Hitler and his Nazi party started a war against Jewish people. Einstein was Jewish, so he decided to leave and go to the United States. That was in 1933, and it's a good thing he did. The world needed him to be free and to pursue his passions. So I'm going to give everyone 2 minutes to annotate this passage, because it's a little bit of a shorter block. 2 minutes, everyone. I'm sorry, I moved from the text. 1 minute. I'll give everyone an extra minute. Okay, time to read. After that, Einstein became a professor in Germany. Times were tough back then. Hitler and his Nazi party started to start a war against Jewish people. Einstein was Jewish, so he did not leave and go to the United States. That was in 1933. It's a good thing he did. The world needed to be free and pursue his passions. So we're not really going to underline anything in this passage. While the thing that happened here was certainly historically significant and a wrong thing to do, and a very wrong thing to do, it's not pertinent to the title of this. It's not pertinent to the title of the story, which is him being a great mind. This part of the text doesn't point him to him being necessarily a great mind, except becoming a professor in Germany, which we are going to underline. So while it is very historically significant, so we'll put this as historical context, which is setting that is desperately needed in this time. I'll write out context and say context. So the only thing to be underlined is that section. As for our next passage, Einstein was not an inventor like Thomas Edison or Alexander Graham Bell, but his theories and discoveries changed the way we look at things. Some examples are space, time, matter, energy, and gravity. I'll give 1 minute to annotate this. So you have 1 minute left, everyone. Actually, 45 seconds. 45 seconds. Okay. Einstein was not an inventor like Thomas Edison or Alexander Graham Bell. His theories and discoveries changed the way we look at things. Some examples are time, space, matter, energy, and gravity. This first sentence doesn't need to be underlined, but the second sentence does, because it points him back to being a great mind, because his theories changed a lot of things. I'll underline that. And some concrete examples are good details that I have underlined. Einstein is best known for his theory of relativity. You've probably heard of the equation E equals mc squared. E stands for energy, m for light. But what does this all mean? Yes, it is as complicated as it sounds. Here's the most basic way to explain it. This theory is actually a scientific explanation of how space relates to time. This was very important. It was changed the way that scientists looked at the universe. This theory also brought on inventions like the nuclear bomb and potassium and nuclear bomb and nuclear energy. So since this is a larger chunk, I'll give everyone 4 minutes to annotate this section. So you have 4 minutes to annotate this section. Three minutes, everyone. 2 minutes, everyone. One minute, everyone. Thirty seconds, everyone. $15 seconds, everyone. Okay, let's get started on this. Einstein is best known for his theory of relativity. You probably heard of the equation E equals mc squared. E stands for energy, m for light. But what does this all mean? Yes, it is as complicated as it sounds. Here's the most basic way to explain it. The theory is a scientific explanation about how space relates to time. This is very important. It changed the way scientists looked at the universe. The theory also brought inventions like the nuclear bomb and nuclear energy. He's best known for his theory of relativity. That points to being a great mind because he developed the theory of relativity. You've probably heard of the equation E equals mc squared. E stands for energy, m for light. The explanation of the equation doesn't actually point toward Einstein being a great mind. Well, what I mean by that is that the author's explanation of what the theory means doesn't have anything to do with Einstein himself, but Einstein is the one that's credited for discovering the theory, which he did. So that points him being a great mind, but not the explanation in and of itself. Yes, it's as complicated as it sounds. Here's the most basic way to explain it. The explanation we said doesn't count. It changed the ways that scientists looked at the universe. The theory did, which Einstein created, so that points him to being a great mind. And again, some concrete examples always help as well. These are good details to underline. Einstein made many other discoveries. For example, he figured out that light is made up of many little particles called photons. He called this the quantum theory of light. At the time, some other scientists did not agree with this theory, but later it was proven. This was an important discovery that led to many inventions, such as the television. I'm going to give everyone 2 minutes to annotate this. So, 2 minutes, everyone. When the clock strikes 47 minutes. I think 48 minutes, because now we'll start 2 minutes now. Minute, everyone. 30 seconds, everyone. Okay, so moving on to our next paragraph here. Einstein made many other discoveries. For example, he found out that light is made up of many little particles called photons. He called this the quantum theory of light. At the time, some other scientists did not agree with this theory, but later it was proven. This was an important discovery. It led to many inventions, such as televisions. He made many other discoveries. This points him toward him being a great mind. Examples don't hurt as well. The name of the theory isn't really the most important thing, so we don't have to underline this. At the time, some scientists did not agree with this theory, so we don't have to underline that. But later it was proven, points to him being a great mind. This was an important discovery, also points to him being a great mind, and an example doesn't hurt as well. So that's what's supposed to be underlined there. Onto our next paragraph. Here's one more example of an important discovery that Einstein made. Along with scientist Sandra Bose, he discovered a new state of matter. Regular states of matter are gas, liquids, and solids. Einstein and Bose found another one. They named it the Bose-Einstein condensate. Today it's used in cool things like lasers. So I'll give everyone 2 minutes to annotate that. You have 2 minutes, so when the clock strikes 51 minutes. One minute, everyone. "30 seconds, everyone." 15 seconds, everyone. Okay, time to begin. So coming back to our paragraph here. Here's one more important example of an important discovery Einstein made. Along with scientist Sandra Bose, he discovered a new state of matter. Regular states of matter are gases, liquids, and solids. Einstein and Bose found another one. They named it the Bose-Einstein condensate. Today, it's used in cool things, like lasers. Okay, so the things that we have to annotate here, or here's one more important example of discovery Einstein made. We don't need to underline that. Along with scientists Sandra Bose, he discovered a new state of matter. Should underline what the discovery actually is, though. Examples only count when they come after the discovery in this case, or after they get told about the discovery. We don't need to know about the regular states of matter, but we do need to know that they found another one, and what they named it, the Bose-Einstein condensate. And we can use the example this time because it comes after the enunciation, discovery of the matter. Or because the story announced that they were going to talk about the story that they were announced they were going to tell us about the discovery. Moving to our next and final paragraph, Einstein's work was very valuable to the world. This is one of the reasons he eventually won the Nobel Prize in Physics. The Nobel Prize is a very famous award given to someone who has done outstanding work in different subjects like science or medicine. Einstein died in 1955. He was later named Person of the Century by Time magazine. So I'll give everyone, I'd say, 2 minutes to annotate this, or when the clock strikes 54 minutes. So you have 2 minutes to annotate this. 2 minutes, everyone. Actually, no, when the clock strikes 55 minutes, my bad. A little bit of an error. Strike 54 minutes would be 1 minute. One minute, everyone. "30 seconds, everyone." "15 seconds, everyone." Okay, time to begin. Einstein's work was and is valuable to the world. This is one of the reasons he eventually won the Nobel Prize in Physics. The Nobel Prize is a very famous award given to someone who has done outstanding work in different subjects like science or medicine. Einstein died in 1955. He was later named Person of the Century by Time magazine. Okay, so what are we going to underline here? So first we're going to underline Einstein's work wasn't as valuable to the world. That points to him being a great mind. This is one of the reasons he eventually won the Nobel Prize in Physics. We'll underline that he won the Nobel Prize in Physics. We only need part of that sentence in this case. The explanation of the Nobel Prizes is good for someone who doesn't know what it is. He was later named Person of the Century for Time magazine is one of his achievements, but this one doesn't necessarily point him to being one of the great minds. And him dying in 1955 doesn't necessarily lead to that either. I'm glad I had the opportunity to teach you about annotating a story, especially in the upper level story like this one for 6th grade. Again, like with my other annotation videos, annotations is a skill that you're definitely going to need to take with you to not only throughout middle school, but to high school and beyond, and even into college when you're reading things like advanced papers, if you take a science class, or even higher level books in high school, or even higher level books in middle school that you may not have gotten to yet. Anyway, I had a great time teaching you. So I'm Christopher Tomeo, and please tune in for my next stream sometime later, maybe even later today or tomorrow. But definitely tune in to my streams Saturday and Sunday. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.